Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my Week 18 Saturday Night Football matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, let's kick it off with the injury report of the Pittsburgh Steelers, starting with wide receiver Roman Wilson with a hamstring injury, linebacker Cole Holmcomb with a knee injury, and defensive tackle Logan Lee with a calf injury, all out for this game. Then moving on to cornerback Dante Jackson with a back injury. He is questionable for the game. Then moving on to quarterback Justin Fields with an abdominal injury. Wide receiver Ben Skowronek. I don't know if that's how you say it, but he has a hip injury. Cornerback Joey Porter Jr. with a knee injury. And running back Jaylen Warren with a rib injury. Now, when it comes down to it, I think Deontay Jackson will play. I don't think Dante will actually miss this game against Cincinnati. Now, obviously, it is a different game if Pittsburgh watches the Ravens win. Right now, they're actually beating the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. But what I'm thinking is that the Pittsburgh Steelers injuries are not going to be that detrimental on the offense. I think it's going to be more detrimental on the defense. Holmcomb out is a very big loss, and so is Logan Lee. But it's not that big of a loss. Right now, I'm thinking that the Steelers are most likely going to suffer more on the defense when it comes to injuries, but not as much. Honestly, I'm going to be surprised if the Bengals even beat the Steelers tonight. Now, moving on to the offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we got quarterback Russell Wilson, running back Najee Harris, wide receiver George Pickens, Van Jefferson, and Calvin Austin III. Pat Freiermuth will be the tight end, left tackle Dan Moore, Isaac Seumalo at the left guard position, Zach Frazier at center, right guard will be Mason McCormick, and right tackle Broderick Jones. Now, when it comes down to it, I honestly think that the Pittsburgh Steelers offense will do a good job. They got George Pickens, they got Calvin Austin, they got Freiermuth, they got a good offensive line as well. And they got a good running back as well in Najee Harris and a very decent quarterback in Russell Wilson, or if he plays, Justin Fields. Now, when it comes down to the Steelers offense, honestly, it's going to be more of a run game in this game, I think so. I think the Bengals' run defense will be suffering under the weight of Najee Harris, but still, you got a few plays where you're going to get some deep passes for George Pickens, so I'm thinking that the offense of those Steelers are really just going to clobber the defense of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, moving on to the defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we got defensive ends Larry Ogunjobi and Cameron Hayward. Nose tackle Keanu Benton. Weak side linebacker TJ Watt. Inside linebackers Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. Strong side linebacker Alex Highsmith. Cornerback Dante Jackson, who is questionable, so he might be replaced by Corey Trice Jr., and the other corner being Joey Porter Jr. Nickelback will be Cameron Sutton, free safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Deshaun Elliott at strong safety. Now, when it comes to the Steelers defense, I honestly think that the Steelers defense is going to have a very good time against the Bengals. Now, you're going to have to watch out for some T. Higgins, some Jamar Chase, but you got a good defensive line in Ogunjobi, Hayward, and Benton with coming off the edge, you got TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith, honestly. And then you also get the secondary, which is pretty good as well. Honestly, if they aren't able to beat the Steelers, the Bengals, in the air, honestly, it's over. And I think Pittsburgh has the opportunity to do that and the ability to do that. I think that they might actually win this game in both offense and defense. Now, moving on to the injury report of the Cincinnati Bengals, starting off with defensive end Sam Hubbard, who is out with a knee injury. Then moving on to running back Chase Brown with an ankle injury, wide receiver T. Higgins with an ankle and knee injury, wide receiver Charlie Jones with a groin injury, tackle Amarius Mims with a hand and ankle injury, tight end Drew Sample with a groin injury, and cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt with an ankle injury, all questionable for the game. Then moving on to tackle Orlando Brown Jr. with a fibula injury, quarterback Joe Burrow with a wrist and knee injury, tight end Tanner Hudson with a knee injury, defensive tackle McKinley Jackson with a wrist injury, and defensive tackle Chris Jenkins with a knee injury. Now, out of all of these players, I only think Sample and Taylor Britt will not play in this game. Everyone else, you're in. Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Charlie Jones, and Amarius Mims. So losing Mims is going to be crucial. That offensive line is going to suffer if he's not in there, specifically on his side of the field, which I believe was the right side. And obviously losing T. Higgins is one less receiver on the field, and same goes for Charlie Jones. But T. Higgins is a little bit more important than Charlie Jones. In the end, it's all really going to come down to how are the injuries going to make the Bengals offense suffer in this game, because I in fact believe that the offense, even though Sam Hubbard is a very good defensive end, honestly, the defense of the Bengals is not going to suffer as much as the offense. Now, moving on to the offense of the Cincinnati Bengals, we got quarterback Joe Burrow, running back Chase Brown, who is questionable for the game, so he might be replaced by Khalil Herbert. Then moving on to wide receiver Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Andre Iosivas. I don't know if that's how you say it, but if T. Higgins cannot go, Isaiah Williams will take over for him. Then moving on to tight end Mike Gesicki, left tackle Orlando Brown Jr., Cody Ford at left guard, Ted Karras at center, Alex Kappa right guard, and right tackle Amarius Mims is questionable, so Devin Cochran could come in for him. Now, when it comes to this offensive line, it's going to suffer against not necessarily the defensive linemen, but the pass rush from TJ or Alex, or even both. Honestly, this is going to be a tough game. Obviously, Hayward is a very good defensive lineman as well. And like I said, with TJ and Alex off the edge, honestly, this is going to be a tough game for that offensive line of the Bengals. While receiving wise, obviously you got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. If they're both in the game, you've got a pretty good shot at winning the receiving game. But honestly, if one is out, then the other gets pressured a lot more with more coverage. Now, you also got Mike Gesicki at tight end, who's pretty good as well. And Chase Brown, if he can go, whether it be him or Herbert, honestly, it doesn't really matter. They're both pretty decent as well. Honestly, it's going to be an uphill battle for the Bengals to win this game, because they got to win in order to make the playoffs and hope for a Broncos loss and a bunch of other things, I think. I'm not certain about how the playoff scenarios would work, but I do know one thing. The Bengals need to win if they want a chance. Now, moving on to the defense of the Cincinnati Bengals, we got defensive ends Myles Murphy and Trey Hendrickson. Defensive tackle McKinley Jackson and BJ Hill. Weak side linebacker Maya Njongmeta. I don't know if that's how you say it, but Jermaine Pratt will be the inside linebacker. Akeem Davis Gaither will be the strong side linebacker. Corners Cam Taylor Britt and Josh Newton, but if Taylor Britt cannot go, DJ Ivy will take over. Mike Hilton is the nickelback. Free safety Geno Stone and Jordan Battle at strong safety. Now, when it comes down to this defense, honestly, they're going to have a tough time. They got to cover obviously the top two receiving targets, which would be Freiermuth and, of course, none other than George Pickens, with also having to worry about the run game with Najee Harris. Russell Wilson is a little bit of a dual threat, so he can run as well, although I'm not thinking he's going to run as much. The offensive line, it's just going to be a tough matchup. Linebackers are going to have a bit of an issue with certain targets, receivers specifically, the defensive backs as well. But them, obviously, it's a lot harder since they got to worry about Pickens. Honestly, I think that this team is going to have a tough time both on offense and defense, while the Steelers are destined to not only win, but right now we're having the Ravens win against the Cleveland Browns right now, so you might think that this game actually means nothing if they win. So for right now, I'm thinking that the Bengals are definitely not going to be a very good defense this Saturday night. Now, in conclusion, I have the Bengals losing 34-14 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this would eliminate the Bengals from playoff contention. Now, honestly, I'm seeing this as a very big win for Pittsburgh, not due to their necessarily, well, kind of. They got some good guys on that offense and defense, specifically the defense. But honestly, the defense and offense of the Bengals are so hampered with both injuries and honestly, even bad play at times. I don't feel like the Bengals are actually going to do it. They're not going to be able to win this game, and this will eliminate them from playoff contention. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Tweet me any video ideas. Also, tell me down in the comments below, who do you think will win and who do you think will lose, the Bengals or the Steelers? Tell me down in the comments below. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and hit the notification if you want more videos. And I'll see you guys next time.